Hello everyone, it's Sunday morning. I hope you're all well. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Magnificent Mags channel. Well, that was a huge 3 points yesterday, wasn't it? Was it a pretty game? Absolutely not. That game will be consigned to the depths of history, never to return. But all that matters is we got the 3 points in the end. Now, we said we needed to back up Tuesday night's impressive win against Benfica in the Champions League by beating Fulham. There's no disrespect to Fulham, although they did deserve their equaliser yesterday, and they were on top after our opening dominance. You have to be beating the likes of Fulham at home. And I felt like yesterday could have been a mirror of last season where we did take the lead and then Fulham come back to 1-2-1. But not yesterday. We've learnt our lessons. And yes, like I said, it was a frustrating watch. Eddie Howe made one change from the team that beat Benfica and he brought in Joe Linton ahead of Jacob Ramsey. I thought Ramsey might have started just because... Again, Ramsey, he needs a bit like Willock, I think, after his injury, he needs to a few games to get up to speed, if you like. And I feel like he finds those pocket of spaces more and he's more technical than Joe Linton, although Joe Linton offered a lot of energy yesterday and he carried the ball well and used his physicality, even though he was kicked in places. But the less said about Peter Banks, the better, because he was atrocious yesterday. Honestly, the standard of officiating, is getting a lot worse. I mean, what they let go in that game, Fulham seemed to get everything, and Nick Voltemada, he was pulled left, right and centre. He was backing into players. His physicality gone out the game. You're not allowed to touch your opponent. Of course, Voltemada was backing into his man, but what are you meant to do? You're trying to hold the ball up. You're trying to you're holding your ground. Of course you're going to be backing into the man. They were like that around him and he got nothing all game. There was some awful decisions. That one where Bruno carried it out when we cleared a header. I think it was, second half when we were shooting at the Gallagher and Bruno carried it towards the east stand and then he was hauled down. Banks' way of play on. Honestly, awful. But you know what? A frustrating game. But in the end, the last 30 minutes, we took control and we won it in the end. So let's analyse it. We started well. We had a couple of early chances. Nick Voltemada, his only chance really, a bit like Benfica. He had the one chance all game. It hit the post. Jacob Murphy hit the post from a tight angle. And you just thought, can we get the goal? We started well. We need to make our dominance pay. But you know what? Fair play to Jacob Murphy. He was excellent. Yet again, he's been involved in getting our assist this season. And now he's got his first Premier League goal of the season. Excellent pressing on Calvin Bassey, who I felt had a poor game. The Nigerian didn't play that well because he also went missing for the winner. But Murphy did so well to press him. And then he carried the ball up the pitch. Bassey still has some pace, a bit like Bonds for his first goal against Benfica. Murphy was forced a little wide. It was a difficult angle, but he hit it in the only place he could, and it was a mirror image of Bonds in that bottom corner, in off the post, and that put 1-0 up. And then obviously we had another chance. Joe Linton had it. He got it. He was in a little bit of pressure. Played it to Gordon. Gordon spotted Murphy straight away, a little pass straight through from one-on-one, and unfortunately Leno saved it. I felt Murphy, that chance was easier and he should have put with 2-0 up because it would have put out of sight, made it more comfortable. And I didn't think Murphy was onside at the time, but I've obviously watched the highlights back after the game yesterday because I didn't record after the game yesterday because we were meeting some friends and then we went to watch some live music. Then we came back to Stack, so a Coldplay tribute, and then another one called Atomic Kittens. Don't know what that's about anyway, but yeah, it was a great night. Goal would have been key, that second one, just to put we in control. We didn't make our dominance pay after that because Fulham unfortunately then got a foothold in the game, didn't they? And then they really started to take control. I felt there was a bit fatigued there. Of course there was. We played so well. We were a relentless second half against Benfica, and I just felt the team looked a little fatigued and running out of steam a bit. And their midfield was getting on top and we were missing Tonali. But look, it's been said that Tonali asked not to play because he wasn't 100%. And he said give Lewis Miley another chance. And I thought Miley was okay. A little loose in possession a couple of times, but he done a couple of nice passes. Had a few nice touches in difficult positions when under pressure. But we needed those substitutions because obviously Adama Traore got a chance. That just flashed wide of Nick Pope's right-hand post. And then he done a good save, Nick Pope, as well from Emile Smith-Rowe. And you just felt Fulham were getting a foothold. And I was glad that the half-time whistle came when it did. because it felt like we needed a bit of a breather. Like I said, the players looked a bit fatigued after Tuesday's exertions. And then I felt Eddie Howe could have freshened it up, but he didn't. And I felt that still give Fulham the competitive edge at the start of the second half, because they looked, obviously, without having a midweek game, Fulham were a big physical team, especially, obviously, Adama Traore. He loves to cover himself in baby oil. But I just think he's all pace, but no end product. But Fulham, and credit to them, and I said this to the lads who stand behind me, I believe that some Premier League teams are better than European teams. Yes, Benfica have won their league 38 times, 2-time European champions, but like, I just feel Premier League teams have got more quality, got more pace. It's a higher intensity. I think that's... I'm not giving a disservice to Miley. He was great against Benfica. So was Dan Burn in a way. But I just feel like Premier League games are higher paced. European games are slower. So I feel like it's less intense for certain players. Because Miley isn't one who's about pace. He's about intelligence and reading passes and the play around him before he gets the ball. And obviously Burn, yes, he had a difficult game the other night, but I felt he handled Adama Traore well yesterday. Player was very quick, even though he switched off a couple of times. But yeah, it was a higher intensity in Fulham. Whenever Voldemort they had so many bodies, the box were in whenever we got an attack. And it felt like when they knew the threat of Gordon after Tuesday night, so Gordon was kind of like doubled up upon. Voldemort, and he's coming deep. Like I said, the box were in, they had so many bodies, so it didn't have much space. When we did get it though, we found ourselves getting out to tight areas very, very well. But yeah, it felt like Fulham had the advantage, and we even said, well, like, a goal feels like it's coming here from them. It felt like an equaliser was inevitable, and so it came to pass. They had a nice bit of build-up play. They were on the right-hand side, came in the centre, switched it out to Kevin. We had a name for a winger, Kevin, but there we are. Sounds like an accountant. But yeah, Kevin, he had the run outside him. I think it was 17, was it? 17? Is that a Warby? I think it was a Warby, or he might be I think it was a Warby who was overlapping. In Trippier, in Miley, you look back, you can see like them pointing, but I didn't think one of them... I thought neither of them knew whether to either go for the other runner or try and double up on the man who was doing the cross. They done neither, and then Kevin played the ball across the box. Dan Burn lost Raul Jimenez at the far post. Nick Pope done fantastically, if you look back. Got fingertips just to tip it off the underside of the bar, but then Botman wasn't strong enough against Sasa Lukic when it came to the rebound, and he just nodded it over the line. You know what? No complaints. Fulham deserved that, because after the opening 20-25 minutes, Fulham were the better team up until the hour mark. But then Eddie Howe saw the need for fresh legs to change it up, and he brought on Harvey Barnes initially on the right, kept Gordon on the left, and then he brought Sandro Tonali on for Lewis Miley. And look, Sandro wasn't 100%, but his quality helped wrestle the game back in our favour, and I felt we controlled the midfield more. We're slowly turning the screw. But while we were turning the screw, I felt we could have done a bit more. Like I said, like the midfield did go missing for a little bit until those substitutions come on. I felt we needed Sandro's quality. He showed it again, despite not being at 100%, how he wrestled the game back in our favour when he replaced Miley. Because Bruno didn't step up really the last half an hour. Joe Linton, yeah, put himself about, but I just felt we needed a bit more control than Joe Linton sometimes offer, because he's more of a battering ram. But then I'll look at the wingers as well. Well, Murphy did a great contribution. I understand that he came off because he looked tired. So inevitably brought Barnes on the right initially, because Barnes scored both of his goals from the right the other night. But then Gordon, I felt, could have done more, because he won the free kick, didn't he, early on? And he got Tete booked, and I just thought, look, he could run at him more. He's like running a disciplinary tightrope here. Yeah, try and commit him to do a foul. They're down to 10 men. And then you've got that numerical advantage. And while Gordon was full of running, give him a few problems. I just felt like he maybe could have done a bit more against him. But look, there was that great move again. Voldemort fouled Gordon, because Gordon initially tried to beat his man, but then he played it off and won the throw-in. Quick throw into Voldemort in the box. Obviously, you can't be offside from a throw-in. Voldemort, again, being dragged all over the place, somehow managed to flick it up. A lovely lay off to Gordon. Gordon's crossed Bruno's head just over. I felt like a massive opportunity gone, and then it might be petering out to a draw. But then he made further subs. Gordon came off. Barnes went to the left-hand side. Elanga came on the right. And look, Elanga, yes, did he have a brilliant game? Of course he didn't, but yes, there was a few misplaced passes, and I felt he could have beat his man a bit more rather than cutting inside, being cautious. But I just think it's a confidence thing with Elanga. All other wingers are now starting to contribute in Barnes, Gordon and Murphy. But I feel Elanga just needs one to fall for him. But look at that run Barnes done. He knew Tete was on a yellow, what Gordon should have done, what I've just alluded to. And then Barnes got all the way to the byline. And then he done a lovely ball in, and Elanga was around the penalty spot, but it was just blocked. I just feel he just gets that first goal, whether it comes off his arse, whether it goes off his shin. I just feel if he gets that first goal or assist, his confidence will go through the roof. Like Eddie Howe said, he's trying to change his game to suit our system because it was different how Forest played in the low block. Give Elanga time, because Elanga done a lot more than people might say. There was a few groans again around us when he misplaced passes, but he wasn't the only one. And Elanga was key as well. And look, he played a lovely little pass to Trippier, whose cross went to the far post, which Joe Linton just headed against the side netting. But then he was also key for the winner because Osula, he's the chaos we needed. Again, the subs work. Barnes, again, I felt he had an impact when he come on. I've just covered Elanga there, who I'm going to just finish on in a second. Tonali gained control of the midfield for him, and Bruno bossed it for the last half an hour. And then Osula was the chaos we needed, because it's been said Graham Jones has been working with him. You saw his arm around him at the end of the game. And you can clearly see he's improved because he's pressing, puts Leno under pressure, and then he's running in pace. It worked for the winner, didn't he? He won the ball. And when I come back to Elanga, it was Elanga's run that dragged their players away, that created the space for Osula to run inside and get his shot away. And then obviously Bruno, despite him saying afterwards that he was dead on his feet, basically, he was so tired he needs to go to bed, he still found the energy to get in the box for the rebound and send St. James's Park into absolute bedlam. It was wild when that winner went in. I'm glad I had my contacts in yesterday, because these would have been broken, even though I need to get that tightened. But yeah, like I said, Elanga did more than some people realise. He was creating the space, and his pace there made them drop deeper as well. So there was more space to operate into, and we were able to dominate the game more. So there was a lot more that Elanga done than people just moaning at his passes. Give him time, honestly. I can see what he's trying to do. He will come good. He's got to for that money. I know his price tag's a pressure, but he's got to come good. I believe he will do. But yeah, Will Osula, like I said, that guy, everyone says he's chaos, but he's full of enthusiasm. He's work rate. He's hunger to do well. And he pressed, didn't he? Pressed them for that. He was chasing the keeper, but then he pressed it on halfway. And then he just ran through. Like I said, Elanga created the space. Couldn't say Bassi again didn't have a good moment. And Bruno there to follow up for the winner. And I've got to say that for Bruno. Again, as everyone's covered, you hear this a lot, he dons his cape when it comes to trying to grasp the game for us. And I felt all game he did stand out. Yes, some passes didn't come off early on for him, but he's always trying. You're not going to always keep the ball when you're a playmaker. Bruno wants to make things happen because he's a quality technical player. And the fact that he got there at the end when he was on empty to score the winner, it just epitomises how much he loves this club. As I said after Benfica, he bleeds black and white. I love that man so much. What a player Bruno is. And Captain Fantastic got with that win yesterday, just for sheer effort of dragging himself into that box to anticipate, like he said, that the keeper might save it, and he just tapped it into the bottom corner, and then he done his usual loads of celebrations. You know, he scored on FIFA or FC 26 now, whatever it is. You press all the buttons. That's basically what Bruno does. He's pressing L3, R3, L1, L2. He's pressing all the buttons to do all the different celebrations. But yeah, look, it wasn't pretty. It was a frustrating game at times. Refereeing these officials were awful. Again, I don't want to be criticising a referee, but he was awful yesterday. He just felt like he was giving everything to Fulham and nothing to us. And like I said, Voltemada was manhandled all game and got nothing but basically one free kick when it was that obvious. And Joe Linton was kicked all game. So I feel like justice in the end came through. For all of Fulham's sly fouls and that. But look, their tactics were working up until that point. But I've got to praise the lads, because look, Trippier's 35. He's having to play all these games at his age when Tino's out. And yes, he misplaced a few passes. And it wasn't his best game, but he still done a few neat passes, still decent in possession, won a few tackles. Burns switched off a couple of times, Pope, I felt he was solid again, could do nothing about the equaliser. The fact he tipped Jimenez's shot off the bar was a fantastic save. And Botman misplaced a few passes, and he wasn't strong enough for the rebound against Sasa Lukic. But Malik Chow again, what a signing he is. So calm under pressure, swept everything up when Fulham gained control. He was on the end of everything, headers, winning tackles, like I said, sweeping up behind his other defenders when the ball came in behind. His recovery pace is excellent, and he's versatile. He started at right centre-back and then he moved left centre-back, but he played there predominantly for AC Milan despite being right-footed, so he's just a quality player all around. But yeah, honestly, I just want to say credit to the whole team, and I mean that. Like they found a way to win in the end. They dug deep, frustrating game, decisions going against them, running on empty after Tuesday night's performance, and they still found a way to get all 3 points. And all that matters is the result. Yes, not a pretty game. Like I said, I'll be consigned to the depths of football history when it comes to digging that out the vaults, lock it away forever. All that matters is the 3 points, and it moves up to 11th in the table. A good weekend all around for us though. Fantastic win, and it's good that we'll be able to relax today when the Sunday games are on, knowing we've won. So yes, we might have dropped to 11th after initially going 10th, but we're looking up now, and then we've got Spurs to continue our cup defence on Wednesday at St James's, and then West Ham. I'm looking forward to going down to London next weekend for my first visit to their ground. But anyway, that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on our notification bell for the latest videos dropping from the Magnificent Mags channel. And I will see you on the next video when I give my post-match reaction following our game against Spurs in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday. But for now, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and your week. Bye-bye.